بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم يا ربنا تقبل منا وتب علينا يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك، ولا تجعلنا مولانا من الغافلين عن ذكرك ولا عن طاعتك، وتقبل منا يا أكرم الأكرمين. إن شاء الله Inshallah, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my voice is clear? Okay. We're going to be talking about the sweetness of Iman and how we can get there, inshallah. Now, of course, the sweetness of Iman, how do we know that Iman has sweetness? Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam chose a very precise words. So the Prophet ﷺ said, ذاق. ذاق means you taste. ذاق طعم الإيمان. ذاق. He tastes the sweetness of Iman. Man, the one, رضي بالله ربا. The one who accepted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be his Lord. What does that mean? It means that you accepted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you accepted the sharia of Allah, you believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you believed in Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, that, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of creation. You believed in Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, part that He is the Ilah, and He is the one that we worship, and He is the one that we obey, He is the one that He legislates. This is all Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. Okay? And also believing in the names and the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and its totality. And the way it was described in the Quran and by the tongue of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the authentic hadith. So, مَنْ رَضِيَ بِاللَّهِ رَبًّا. The scholars said also that they had accepted, beside everything we said, they accepted the test of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah Al-Anbiya, ayah number 35, وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ فِتْنَةً. نَبْلُوكُمْ, we test you with goodness and badness. Somebody gets sick, somebody died for him. Children, wife, father, mother, his work, his money, his wealth, his financial affair. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala touched him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّن نَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test us. You're so rich, that's a test. You're so healthy and powerful, that's a test. You are weak and sick, that's a test. You are poor, that's a test. وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ فِتْنَةً. So that means you accepted all of these. رَضِيتُ بِاللَّهِ رَبًّا. I accepted everything coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am happy, I'm satisfied with the fate and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had ordained on me. You see, I'm always thankful. I'm either patient or thankful. الصبر والشكر. تمام? رضيت بالله ربا. I also accepted the rules and regulation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Sharia. Some people said the Sharia is only to limit our ability, to limit our freedom. A lot of people, they said, the Sharia limit us. It does not give us freedom. It is the opposite. The Sharia is to protect you. For example, if you go to a beach and you find a sign said, that the waves are so high and it is very dangerous to swim here. So do you believe that this sign will limit your freedom from swimming or to protect your life? It's to protect your life. When we go by power line, we find a sign. They have the skeleton of the skull, and then they have something like this, and they said under it, death threat, you know, khatar al-maut. Now, do you think that will limit my freedom from coming close, or this is to protect me? Definitely, this is to protect me. So the Muslim, the true Muslim, who really رضي بالله ربا, accepted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be his Lord, the person will look at the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as to save him, to protect him. It is for the better. It is not to limit his freedom. All of these combined, رضي بالله ربا. You're happy. You're satisfied. Other scholars, they said رضي بالله ربا, meaning that he learned about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He know who Allah is. He know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-Latif al-Khabir. Allah is al-Ghafur al-Rahim. Allah al-Wadud al-Shakur. Allah al-Halim al-Ghafur. Allah. He knows all of these things. And also, he can see that in his life. He can see whenever he gets in a calamity, you know, he prostrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he make dua, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answer him. When he see the answer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is hearing him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in ayat in Surah Ghafir, ayah number 60, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. Id'uni, call upon me, prostrate, ask me, make supplication to me. Id'uni أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. It's a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I will answer your call. Answering the call by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is according to Allah, not according to you. Allah will answer you according to Him. Maybe it is not the way that you want it, but with the way that it will be better for you and that He knows it, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all of these meanings are embedded under the understanding of رضيت بالله ربا. رضيت بالله ربا, ذاق طعم الإيمان. ذاق, taste the sweetness of Iman, the person who رضي بالله ربا, accepted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be his Lord. وبالإسلام دينا. And Islamic dina, we just explained some of it, that you adopt the rules and regulations of Islam, and it is not limiting to your freedom. It is just to protect you and to preserve you and to make you better, to make your life happier, you know. And nowadays they are really discovering a lot of things that whatever the Prophet ﷺ is telling you, it's true. The Prophet ﷺ tells you how to sleep. The Prophet ﷺ tells you how to eat. The Prophet ﷺ tells you, you know, how to fasting, and, you know, sleeping, waking up, all of this. You know, all the scholars are discovering, you know, like this latest scholar came out and he said, waking up for Fajr prayer, it will save you literally from having a heart attack. Waking for Fajr prayer. Because he said when the body goes to sleep is about between 6 to 8 o'clock in the morning. They made a survey that all the heart attack incidents that they take place with the people, it takes time between 6 to 8 o'clock in the morning. That's a survey. And those people who they made the study, they're not Muslims though. But some of the Muslims, like Dr. Abdul Kahil, and he has a website and he get all of these. His name is Abdul Al-Kahil. He finds out and he publicized this. That's not his own finding. That's the finding of some scientists who they are not Muslim. So when you wake up for Fajr prayer, you're stopping the process, you know, that the body developed to have a heart attack. Okay? So This is the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. من ذاق طعم الإيمان من رضي بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا. Believing that every order in Islam is good and is for your benefit. So many people call me and they tell me, why pork is haram? Why alcohol is haram? Why this is haram? Simple answer. It is for your betterment. It is for your safety. We'll give you detail. I'm not going to give you detail. You either believe in Allah and trust Allah's judgment, or you don't. If you believe in Allah and you trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's telling you what to do. One lady I talked to her from Home Depot, and she said, I'm reading Islam and a lot of things don't make sense. And she said, she's the one who said that, limiting my freedom, you know. I told her, I said, you're selling here a lot of equipment. In Home Depot, they sell a lot of equipment. I said, how to operate this equipment? What would you tell me if I asked you how to operate this equipment? She said, read the catalog. Read the instruction. I said, you accepted that with the tools or the machine that you're selling, that I need to refer to the manufacturer catalog, you know, or guidelines or operation manual, right? She said, right. I said, well, who made me? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent me Islam and the rules and regulations of Islam as an operation manual. In order for you to make this body work perfectly, like a machine, then you need to follow the instruction, the operating manual. And she smiled and she said, that makes a lot of sense. I said, it's not from me, I read it somewhere. You know, somebody told me that, so it's not my own, you know, research or my own idea. I've heard somebody said it. So anyway, ذاق طعم الإيمان من رضي بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا. And there are other reports said نبيا ورسولا, you know, but the famous one of the hadith that's reported by Muslim and Ahl Sunnah, you know, وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا. Meaning also that not everything you get from the Quran. A lot of people who they're trying to limit some of those new scholars, or they call themselves scholar, they come on YouTube and they talk a lot. They made all their interest to take all their direction from the Quran. No, it is not. You must take the Quran and the Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith is very famous, hadith Ukasha, you know, that was very famous. The Prophet ﷺ said, ألا إني أوتيت القرآن ومثله معه. I was giving the Quran and something look-alike with it. ومثله معه, equal to it with it. How are you going to adapt to Islam if you don't listen to the Prophet? And we have said it many, many times, and it became clear to everybody. Where would you find in the Quran to pray Dhuhr for Rak'ah? You will never find it. Where would you find in the Quran 2.5% as your zakah? You will never find it. You know, how and everything, you need the Prophet ﷺ. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ, ayah number 9 of Surah Al-Hijr, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Al-Dhikr here, he didn't say the Quran, he said Al-Dhikr. Al-Dhikr, some of the scholars, they said Al-Wahyayn. Al-Wahyu al-Qur'ani wal-Wahyu al-Nabawi. This is Al-Dhikr. Al-Wahy al-Qur'ani, the oracle of the Quran, the Wahy, the inspiration of the Quran, and the inspiration of the Sunnah. The Sunnah is inspired. Because the Prophet ﷺ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Najm, وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ. He does not utter anything, he does not say anything out of his own. وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah Al-Nahl, وَنَزَّلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ. So, وَنَزَّلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ, the Quran and the Sunnah, for you to explain. Part of the Sunnah is to explain what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you. Okay? If you take the Sunnah, you don't follow the Sunnah, you're not going to follow Islam. You're not going to follow Islam. So that's why all the scholars, the old consortium of the scholars said, whoever rejected the Sunnah, kafir. The one who rejects the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is kafir. Because if you reject the Sunnah, you don't know how to pray, you don't know how to make wudu, you don't know how to make fasting, you don't know how to make siyam properly, you don't know all of the rules and regulation. Most of the detail of all of your rules and regulation comes from the Sunnah. You put the Sunnah aside, then you don't have Islam. So this is, if you really believe in these three, you really believe, and you have no doubt, and then you apply this to your life, you really apply it. Some of the scholars said, Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah, said that applying the Sunnah, applying Islam into your life, you may have a lot of knowledge. We have knowledge, some people have a lot of knowledge, but this knowledge, it is not a practice of their life. Right? We can find out so many people like that. People have a lot of knowledge, but look at their life, look at their behavior, it is not there. Those people, even though they have the knowledge, they cannot have the sweetness of Islam. They cannot have the sweetness of Iman. Some of the scholars, they said, Iman and the sweetness of Iman is like the spirit. Imagine that you have a beautiful car, everything in it, beautiful, brand new, smells good, okay? Everything you need in that car. It has the tire, the radio, air conditioning. It doesn't have gas. It does not have the spirit. So what benefit you have of it? You don't have the benefit. The car that you have is like the information that you have. If you do not have the spirit, the gas in it, it's not going to work. It doesn't take you anywhere. Right? So the knowledge by itself, it doesn't take you anywhere unless it becomes applicable and practical and a living situation in your life. This is then when you, that's why you find that's why the scholars said to be having taqwa, it does not have to reflect the amount of information you have. Because there's some people, they have little taqwa, they have little information, but they have a lot of taqwa. They have learned a little bit, but this little bit, they really believe in it and they adopt it to their life and they live by it. You find their tongue to be good, they don't say anything bad, their eyes are protected, their ears are protected, their wealth is protected, you know. I know a lot of people like this. They don't have very much information, but they have a high degree of taqwa. They have learned a little bit, you know. And the story of that is a beautiful story. I've heard that story over 50 years ago. I was a little kid, but it affected me. I like to share it with you. He said there was a guy who was living a beautiful life. Everything he wants from life, he's doing it, you know. He has very little taqwa, and he has a lot of money, a lot of wealth. He's following his lust and desire, and he's living a happy life, according to him. So one day he was having a music and all the lights on and everything, and a guy passed by and he saw all this loud music. So all the lights, like a party going on inside that house. So he came and he knocked on the door. The maid came out and she said, what? He said, is the owner of this house, is a free person or a slave? She said, what kind of stupid question is this? Of course he's a free person. He said, okay, salaam alaikum, and he walked away. The owner of this palace, he said, who was at the door? She said, a crazy guy. Who was he? She said, I don't know. What did he ask you? He was asking me if the owner of this house is a slave or a free person. I said, what did you tell him? He said, I told him, you are a free person, you are not a slave. You know? So the guy before he left, I forgot, but the guy before he left, he said, when she told him he is a free person, he said, well, I'm sure because he is free, that's what he is doing. If I was a slave, he wouldn't do that. So she told him, she said, the guy said, if you were a slave, you wouldn't do that. And the guy started crying. And she said, why are you crying? He said, the guy meant, if I'm a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I will do as my master ordered me to do. But since I am not a slave of Allah, you know, I live my life the way I want, I follow my lust and desires, you know, then I'm doing all of these bad things. So this particular word made him to repent and to do the right thing. So, ذاق طعم الإسلام ذاق طعم الإيمان من رضي بالله ربا والإسلام دينا ومحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا. If you put your life into, if you put what you know, doesn't matter how little and how much, if you put it into practice, you might reach a high degree of taqwa. And now, when you reach a high degree of taqwa, then you become a scholar. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah Fatir, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. The scholar of the Arabic language, they said, Allah was ahead. The sentence was put, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. That means the one who really fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those are the scholar. If you put it any other way, it doesn't give you the same meaning. You know? If you said al-ulama yakhshawna Allah, if you said the scholar fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that means they fear Allah and somebody else. You know? But when they put Allah first, they said taqdeem dhalika yufidu al-hasr. That means the people who really fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those are the scholar. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. So the people who fear Allah are the people who they have taqwa. So the taqwa then reflect the knowledge. It is not how much I know. That's what it means at the end of it. It is not how much I know. It is not how much information I collect. It is how much I accept in my practical life, I put into use. You know, somebody here, one thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like according to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet ﷺ said, من غدا إلى المسجد أو راح أعد الله له نزلا كلما غدا أو راح. The one who comes to the masjid and goes away from the masjid to his house, every time he does that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will secure for him a mansion in Jannah. So coming to the masjid and leaving the masjid, you don't have one, you have two mansions. You do that 5 times a day, every day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is building for you 10 mansions in the Jannah. Do that all of your life and see. Somebody hears this and he really believes it. ذاق طعم الإسلام ذاق طعم الإيمان taste the sweetness of Iman, the one who accepted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be his Lord, accepted Islam to be his religion, accepted his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be his Prophet. That means he believed in everything that was said. He hears one hadith, he applied to his life. That is better than having a PhD or reading 10,000 books or whatever. That's why Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said in the hadith in the Bukhari, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, he said, we used to learn 10 ayah only and make them workable in our life, adopt them in our life. When we finish, they all become practical. We use them in our life. We live according to them. Then we learn another 10 ayah. So then they were learning to adopt. They were learning to behave. They're not learning for the sake of learning, for the sake of accumulating information. Okay? So if you really live Islam, that's a proof that you believe. And when you live Islam truly, then you can feel, you can taste the sweetness of Iman. An example of that which all of you know, Bilal ibn Rabah, slave, no tribe, nobody to protect him. You know, he embraced Islam. He felt Islam. He accepted what the Prophet ﷺ said. He accepted Allah, accepted Islam, accepted the Prophet ﷺ. All the tortureness that they applied on him, it did not affect him. He used to say, Ahadun Ahad. But why? Why? He tasted something. He felt something that the love of life is not there. The love of freedom is not there. The love of being respected is not there. Loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, loving the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, loving Islam was higher than anything else. Al-Imam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, when he was making a comment about the story of Bilal, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has Jannah on this earth. The one who did not enter the Jannah of Allah on this earth, he's not going to enter the Jannah of Allah in the hereafter. The Jannah of Allah on this earth, by you being so happy being a Muslim, by you being so happy adopting the rules and regulations of Islam, being so happy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why some of the scholars, they call it al-unsu billah. You say alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, you say it, you feel like you've been taken care of. You feel like you're very happy. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah. Some of the Sahaba, they didn't used to visit Imran ibn Hussein. Imran ibn Hussein is one of the Sahaba of the Prophet ﷺ. He has a nickname. His nickname was Dhul Yadayn. His hands were too long. After the Prophet ﷺ passed away, he became sick, laying down. He was laying down, he couldn't stand up. And for him to go to the bathroom, they made a hole in the bed where he was laying there. Some of the Sahaba in the beginning, they did not go visit him. But then later on, somebody pulled them and they went to visit him. So he asked them, why I haven't seen you? They said, we had to come and see you in this situation. But when they came to visit him, they found him smiling. They were surprised. Why are you smiling? He said, Allah accepted this disease for me. wouldn't I accept that for myself? If Allah accepted that for me, wouldn't I accept that for myself? And how long was he laying there? How long his disease last? You're going to be amazed. 30 years. You hear me out? 30 years. It's not 3 days, it's not 30 days. 30 years. He died like that after 30 years. And he never protested. He never complained. He was always thankful, with a smile on his face. Always. Why? What made him that way? He can see the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He can see the happiness. He knows that this torture that he is going through is not for free. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is rewarding him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one, the only one who knows how much reward this guy is getting. If the Prophet ﷺ told us about when you have a high temperature, the Prophet ﷺ said, in the meaning of the hadith, if you have a high temperature and you are patient and you did not protest and saying inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, having this high pressure, that is taking care of all your sinful act. It is burning your sinful act. And that's another hadith. He said, لا تسبوا ملدم. High temperature is called maldam. He said, don't curse it, because it will burn your sinful act as the fire burn the dirt. When you put the iron in the fire, it purifies it, right? All those impurities, they come out with fire. Okay? So this is what Maldam does. This is what the high temperature does. It will burn all the sinful act. You become more pure or purer. Okay? So this guy is being sick. Every day you're being sick. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is wiping out. That's why we have in our culture, if we go visit somebody, we tell him, Tahur inshallah. Don't you hear that word? Tahur means that you're getting purified from all your sinful act. Okay? So, another story the scholar they brought on this one here, that Abu Talha married a lady called Salim. Salim. Salim and Abu Talha was very well known. And Salim did a beautiful thing when she got married to him. Abu Talha was not a Muslim. When he went to marry Salim, she said, I cannot marry you. You are not a Muslim. You know, and I'm a Muslim. And she told him, but a person like you cannot be rejected. Abu Talha was a very famous and head, of his people, very well respected, have a good money, he's a handsome person. She told him, she said, a person like you cannot be rejected. But I'm sorry, I cannot marry you because I'm a Muslim and you're not. And she told him, she said, why don't you make my dowry as your Islam? I want you to be a Muslim, and that will be my dowry. Saying Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah will be my dowry. Abu Talha said, I have a religion. I have religion. I have my own religion. Salim said, you are very smart. The way you talk can change people's hearts. Talk to them nicely and softly. Don't be harsh like me. It will do a lot better. It will do more and more effect. She told him, she said, Ya Abu Talha, you're worshipping an idol. Somebody from Ethiopia, Al-Habasha at that time, those people, they are good with making wood. So they used to get a piece of wood and they, with knife, they clean it up and they make it look like a shape. And then they sell it and people buy it and make it God and they worship it. She said, Ya Aba Talha, you're smart. You know the God that you said you have religion. The God that you're worshipping, one slave from Al-Habasha have formed it up from a piece of wood. Where is your mind? Where is your brain? Abu Talha left. But he's smart. He think, true, this is the one I'm worshipping. It was a piece of wood. One slave from Ethiopia, from Africa, took it and shaped it up, and now I'm prostrating to it. This is not God. He came 2 days later, and he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. This is the beginning of Abu Talha with Salim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted them a son. Abu Talha loved that son so much. It's an amazing story though. He loved that son so much. Before he leaves, he grabs him and he smells him and he kisses him and all of that. When he comes back home, the first thing he comes to his son. Loves his son so much. The son had a temperature, got sick. Abu Talha got worried. One day Abu Talha went to work, the boy died. Salim put him on the side and put on top of him a piece of cloth. Abu Talha came from work immediately. First question, how's my boy? She said, he is calm like never before. It's true. He is calm. She said, he is calm like never before. And I fixed you beautiful dinner. And she put the dinner for him. And he ate. And she went. And she made herself beautiful. And they went together, like in a honeymoon. In the morning, he got up. They took a shower. Before he goes to work, she said, Aba Talha. He said, what? He said, if somebody gave you a manna, he trusted you with something. Somebody came to you and he said, I want to put this with you, amana, until I come back. This is amana. And if those people, they came back and they asked for their amana, would you be upset? He said, of course not. People gave me amana. That's just their thing. When they come back and they ask for it, God bless. She said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you your son as an amana. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took your son away. He died. And so, why don't you take him and bury him? Abu Talha was very much upset. He left her, didn't talk to her, and he went to the Prophet ﷺ. He said, Ya Rasulullah, this is what Salim had done. And the Prophet ﷺ said, and last night, both of you were like in your honeymoon? He said, yes, Ya Rasulullah. The Prophet ﷺ made dua for him. He said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless both of you and give you, in a way, like a replacement. From that night, Salim became pregnant. And they got a boy. She gave a birth to a boy. You see? And that boy, the people of the story, they said that 10 of his children, that means the grandchildren of Salim, all of them, they were Hamalat al-Quran. They are the one who carried the Quran. 10 of the children of that boy. And this is the barakah of the prayer of the Prophet ﷺ. The question is, this Salim, her behavior, what does it present to you? رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد نبيا ورسولا. It represents that. It shows that. You see? So when they said ذاق طعم الإيمان, ذاق, you taste the sweetness of Iman, the one who accepted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be his Lord, to accepted Islam his deen, and to accepted the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as his prophet. And another hadith that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us, he said, ثلاث من كن فيه وجد حلاوة الإيمان. 3 things. If you haven't practiced those 3 things, if you had in your life practiced those 3 things, you will feel the sweetness of Iman. ثلاث من كن فيه ذاق طعم حلاوة الإيمان. 1. أن يكون الله ورسوله أحب إليه مما سواهما. You love Allah and the Prophet more than anything else. أحب إليه مما سواهما. Now, I want to wake up for Fajr. Wallahi, I am tired, I am sleepy, the bed feels so good, you know. But if you love Allah and the Prophet, you get up. I have a very invitation from my bank to give me money. I can go buy the house that I want. I could buy the car that I want. I could do whatever I want. I can travel. I have the vacation that I want. But that loan, they have about 1.9% interest, or 3.3% interest. أحب إليه مما سواهما. No. To please Allah and the Prophet ﷺ, they are more lovable to me than any car, than any loan, than any vacation, than anything else. So this becomes a reference point. Look at your life. Which one do you like more? You like money more than Allah wa Rasuluh? You like cars, you like houses, you like. This is the reference point. The Prophet ﷺ said, ثلاث من كن فيه وجد حلاوة الإيمان. 3 things. If every time you compare, do I love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or I love this? Find out which one you choose. And then you know that your claim is a wrong claim. Maybe you're lying with your claim. It is not what it is, but you say it. But it is no proof. The proof is every time when you get a situation, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more important to me and the Prophet, or having this? You choose. If you choose Allah, that means you have felt the sweetness of Iman. أن يكون الله ورسوله أحب إليه مما سواهما. Somebody did you wrong, and you really want to revenge from him. Maybe you cannot beat him up. Maybe the only thing, maybe you can make ghiba or namima about him. But when you want to start opening your mouth, ghiba is haram. Namima is haram. I'm really very much hurt from that guy. And I really want to do something. But ghiba is haram. Okay. Allah wa Rasuluhu ahabba ilayhi mimma siwahuma. Then I control my tongue. I control my anger. You know? There's a needy person in the family. I love money. All of us. But there's a needy person in the family. He needs 500 or 1,000. Which one is better? Allah wa Rasuluhu taking care of the needy person, or the money? What do you choose? It says who you are. Okay? So then you cannot make false claim. You said, I have Iman, or I have feel the Iman, or I reach it. No. It depends on their action. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, أن يكون الله ورسوله أحب إليه ما سواهما. One. The second one, وأن يحب المرء لا يحبه إلا لله. I love Brother Nafis, I love Brother Khalid, I love Brother Ismail, I love Abu Rammah, I love all of those brothers. I have no other reason to love them besides that they are the people who come to the masjid and they are my brothers in Islam. You know, I really love them for the sake of Allah. I have no any other reason. I don't have money, I don't have work, I don't have anything. They don't need me, I don't need them. But because they come to the masjid and they are good believers, I see them all the time, I love them. And this is the love of the believers. It's by itself is a degree. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, وَأَنْ يُحِبَّ الْمَرْأَ, you love somebody, لَا يُحِبُّهُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. I have nothing between me and Raqib, nothing between me and Murad, except Allah. I love you for the sake of Allah. I am sincere. My work tells you I'm sincere. I have no business. I have no need. I have no family ties. I have nothing except Allah. If it's truly you feel that, you love Him because of the Iman that you have in your heart, because you believe in Allah and the Prophet ﷺ. وَأَنْ يُحِبَّ الْمَرْأَ لَا يُحِبُّهُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ وَأَنْ يَكْرَهَ, then you hate the kufr. You hate the kufr, and you hate for you to go back to kufr as you hate for you to be thrown in the hellfire. None of us will love to be burned in hellfire, right? Natural. Something natural. You put your hand on the fire, you don't like it. Nobody likes to be burned up. Nobody. You see how much you hate for you to be burned up or to be tortured? You hate kufr that much. Look at the analogy that the Prophet ﷺ has given you. وأن يكره أن يعود في الكفر كما يكره أن يقذف في النار. You hate kufr that much. What do you mean you hate kufr? You hate the kufr and any signs of kufr. Any signs of kufr. You hate people calling beside Allah. You hate people worshipping beside Allah. You hate people adopting to rules and regulation beside the rules and regulation of Islam. You know? You hate because you are a believer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِالْبَاطِلِ. This is in Surah Al-Ankabut. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِالْبَاطِلِ وَكَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ. You know, أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. آمَنُوا بِالْبَاطِلِ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ. They love the wrong system. Those are the people, they love the wrong things. Those are the losers. And of course, like Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said, you cannot have in your heart, this is a beautiful word though, Ibn al-Qayyim said, you cannot have your heart two things that they are opposite to each other. You cannot have in your heart mutadaddain. You cannot love kufr and you cannot love Islam. Either you love kufr, one of them is true. If a person loves kufr, then he hates Islam, even if he says something else. And the one who loves Islam hates kufr, no doubt. The Muslim, when he sees something wrong, I mean, his nature does not work well with it. I told the story before, long time ago, in this masjid, we have 2 guests from Saudi Arabia. 2 young doctors coming from Saudi Arabia to give us lectures. So I was taking them around, walking them around. One day, one guy told me, he said, I have never seen liquor in my life. I have never seen liquor. People tell me what it looks like. But here in America, can you, if we are in somewhere and you see liquor, tell me. So we went to Price Chopper. As we're passing by, they're having those wine bottles. I said, Dr. Muhammad, he said, what? I said, to your right there, there's liquor. Wallahi, he jumped. Like I'm telling him there's a snake. You know, he jumped. Why did he jump? I don't jump. I'm used to the munkar. He's not. That's why he jumped. You see, the person cannot live with it. You know, that's one thing we have done in this country is that we made what we call it awful munkar. We became accustomed to the munkar. I see liquor, I don't jump. A guy like him, he see munkar, he jump. Somebody tell him, you know, there's something you can do, but this is a contract in each side. There's a percentage of, you know, riba in it, of interest. A'udhu billah. Wallahi, somebody told me, he said, Wallahi, if they gave me America, all of America, and whatever is in it, for me to take 1% of riba, I will not. No. Why? This person felt the sweetness of Iman. He felt the sweetness, you know, of being happy with Allah. This is the happiness. Do you feel that? Do you feel that? Do you feel when you are prostrating to Allah, you feel happiness is like electricity going into your body? When you lift up your hand and you call on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do you feel something inside of you? Do you feel? You see? And that's why the scholar said, if you do not feel it, you need to work with it. How do I work with it? The scholar gave us many points. They said, you need to recite more Quran. This is number 1 criteria. You need to recite more Quran. You need to make more prayer. You need to wake up in the middle of the night, you know, or before you go to sleep if you sleep late, or if you can wake up before Fajr like 15, 20 minutes, and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Talk to Him. Ask Him. Whatever you want, in your own language. It doesn't have to be rhyme language, it doesn't have to be good language. Ask Him, talk to Him. Ya Rab, Ya Rab اغفر لي, Ya Rab ارحمني. Talk to Him about your problem. Tell Him I need more money. Tell Him I have problem with work, problem with somebody at work, problem with this, problem with that. Talk to Him. Talk to Him. Ask Him. But before you ask Him, make sure that you exalt Him. Make sure that you make salah on the Prophet ﷺ. Abdullah Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said that the Prophet ﷺ walked into the masjid. He saw somebody saying, Allahumma, O Allah, inni as'aluka, I ask you, بأنك أنت Allah. I'm asking you, you are Allah. بأنك أنت Allah. لا إله إلا أنت. There's no God worth of deity except you. لا إله إلا أنت. وحدك لا شريك لك. لك الملك ولك الحمد. تحيي وتميت. You know, أنت تحيي ويميت. You have no partner. You're the one who bring life and bring death. تحيي ويميت. And you are capable of everything. اللهم أنت الواحد الأحد. You are the one and the only one. الفرد الصمد. فرد صمد. Like قل هو الله أحد. الذي لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. And the Prophet is hearing that. And the Prophet ﷺ pointed to him and she said, ask. Ask. Right now, ask. Allah will answer your call. Is'al yustajabu lak. Now ask. He did the proper thing. He exalted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He called him by his name and attributes. You know? And then the Prophet ﷺ said, ask. You will be answered. Your call will be answered. So, wake up, make wudu, make good wudu, make 2 rak'ah, and ask Allah, make supplication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, full-heartedly, you know, with khushu'. If you can cry, cry. Ask Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's another hadith in Sunan Nasa'i, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Man tawadda'a. Listen to this hadith, beautiful. Man tawadda'a, the one who make wudu. فَأَحْسَنَ الْوُضُوء. He made it good. He made wudu, ablution, and he made it good. And then he prayed 2 rak'ah. We have many narrations. One narration said, مُقْبِلًا بِوَجْهِهِ عَلَى اللَّهِ. That you are devoted, like you're coming to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you're really being devoted with those 2 rak'ah. Okay? The Prophet ﷺ said, وَجَبَتْ لَهُ الْجَنَّةِ. You make 2 rak'ah, that you're coming unto Allah, you're concentrating. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَجَبَتْ لَهُ الْجَنَّةِ. Jannah is granted for you. Another narration for the same hadith, من توضأ فأحسن الوضوء فصلى ركعتين لم يحدث بهما نفسه غفرت ذنوبه غفر الله له ذنوبه. That you make the same thing, wudu, and make 2 rak'ah, and those 2 rak'ah you do not get distracted. The same thing, getting focused. You're talking to Allah, you're exalting Allah, you're making tasbih, you're making dhikr, you're reciting Quran, you know. You do not get distracted. At the end of those 2 rak'ah, 3 minutes, all your dhunub will be abolished. Beautiful. You see? So, this is the sweetness of Iman. Comes from the recitation of the Quran. Don't recite Quran like you're reciting a newspaper. Try to understand what you're reciting. That's 1. 2, making a lot of salah. Making nawafil. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Hadith Qudsi, reported by Muslim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ. My servant, my abd, kept making more nawafil until I love him. Allah said that. The Hadith Qudsi reported by Muslim. فَإِذَا أَحْبَبْتَهُ كُنْتُ سَمْعَهُ الَّذِي يَسْمَعُ بِهِ وَبَصَرَهُ الَّذِي يُبْصِرُ بِهِ. At the end of the Hadith, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be with you. He loves you, He will be with you. And then the other Hadith, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you, He called Jibreel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the other Hadith which is authentic, when He loves you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called Jibreel. Allah will say, Ya Jibreel, I love so and so. I want you to love him. And Jibreel will love you. After Jibreel will love you, Jibreel alayhi salam will call the angels of the sky. Imagine, your name will be up there. He will call the angels of the sky and He tells them, Allah loves so and so. You should love Him. And the people of the sky, all those angels, will love you. And then the hadith continue. The Prophet ﷺ said, فَيُوضَعُ لَهُ الْقُبُولُ فِي السَّمَاءِ وَيُوضَعْ لَهُ الْقُبُولُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. You will be accepted in the sky. and you will be accepted on earth by the order of Allah, because Allah loves you. And that's the other hadith that all of you know. من طلب رضا الله في سخط الناس, من طلب رضا الله في سخط الناس, the one who only seeks the pleasure of Allah, to be accepted by Allah. But people will hate that. People will be condemning him. رضي الله عنه أرض الناس. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be happy with him, and he will make people happy with him. And the opposite is the opposite. وَمَنْ طَلَبَ رِضَى النَّاسِ فِي سَخَطِ اللَّهِ, and the one who like only under peer pressure, he cannot, stand with his Islam. Whatever his friends are doing, he will do the same thing because he wants them to be happy with him. Even though if there is violation. من طلب رضا الناس في سخط الله. He doesn't care about Allah being happy with him or not. He wants his friends to be happy with him. سخط الله عليه وأسخط الناس. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be unhappy with him, and he will make the people unhappy with him. If that's the proper interpretation. Okay? What time is the salah? 7:30? Okay, it's 7:15 right now. So we will say, Subhanallah. Of course, the subject have many stories. The story of An-Nadr ibn Malik, the battle of Uhud, and then he threw himself to fight because he can feel it. And he said, An-Nadr, radiallahu anh, he said, I can smell the Jannah from Uhud, from that side. I can smell it. So he went over there and he fought until he died. Umayr ibn al-Hamam, when he heard the Prophet ﷺ said, there is no between you and Jannah except for those people to kill you. He believed. رضي بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد النبيا. Then he can feel it. And then he said, he had a few dates in his hand. He said, if I wait until I ate these, that's a long life. I cannot wait. He threw the date away and he went and he fought and he got killed. And the Prophet ﷺ told us about so many of those people that he can see him in Jannah right now. Okay? So this is the sweetness of Iman. Make more recitation of the Quran. Make more tadabbur. Think about it. Make more of the salah. Make more of the dhikr. Do not waste time. Do not waste time. Wherever you are, driving, going, coming, maybe watching TV, when it pauses, make dhikr. Because there is one beautiful hadith. This will be the last one, and I'm sorry if I made it long. وَأَنَا مَعَهُ إِذَا ذَكَرَنِي. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the hadith that I am with you. He is with you when you remember Allah. When you make dhikr to Allah, Allah with you. The other hadith, or the continuation of it is, وَإِذَا ذَكَرَنِي فِي مَلَئٍ ذَكَرْتُهُ فِي مَلَئٍ خَيْرٌ مِّن مَلَئٍ. If you mention Allah in a group, Allah will be mentioning you in a better group than your group. And if you remember Allah inside yourself, وَإِذَا ذَكَرَنِي فِي نَفْسِهِ ذَكَرْتُهُ فِي نَفْسِي. If you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only between you and yourself, you're not saying it inside. If you're sitting down, closing your mouth and saying Subhanallah wa bihamdihi Subhanallah al-Azim, saying La ilaha illallah. You're making dhikr between you and yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I will remember you in myself. Subhanallah, what a privilege that you have. So, qira'at Quran, salah, siyam, dhikr, making dhikr, okay? And being good to the others. Be good to the others. Having good moral value. Help others. Help others. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, you know, وَاللَّهُ فِي عَوْنِ الْعَبْدِ مَا كَانَ الْعَبْدُ فِي عَوْنِ أَخِيهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with your service or at your service as long as you are at the service of your brother. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. أعوذ بالله أن أضل أو أضل أو يضل علي. أعوذ بالله أن أجهل أو يجهل علي. Bear with, you know, I seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to say something wrong, and I declare myself innocent of it, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive me. Whatever goodness comes out is from the help of Allah, and any bad thing is from my lack of knowledge and from my ignorance, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive me and to forgive all of you. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.